It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
It's time for the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News. The Riley and Ridge Show takes you into the locker room and the coach's office, giving you a unique perspective on Boise State football from two guys who know a thing or two about what it takes to win on the blue. Combined, they have nearly 3 decades of coaching experience, none of which came from Riley Smith. But he played for the Broncos and won 52 games and 2 Mountain West championships during his 6 years. Kent Riddle won 7 conference championships during his 13 years as an assistant coach at Boise State and has 29 years of coaching experience overall. The Riley and Ridge Show is presented by Jackson's, where 25 cents from each hot dog sold goes directly to the Horseshoe Collective to support Boise State student athletes. Visit a Treasure Valley Jackson's location today. Now, here's Riley Smith and Kent Riddle for another edition of the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News.
Bronco Nation, welcome back to the Riley and Ridge Show, sponsored by Jackson's. We're back here at the James, and it's Victory Tuesday. I'm hoping we're saying that all year long, but we're joined by a really special guest. We got former Boise State DB, Kekaula Kaniho. We're fired up to have you, dude. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, boys. Great to be here. Yeah, Victory Tuesday.
Been trying to figure out a time to get this done, and no better time than the first Victory Tuesday.
That's it, man.
And leading into the Oregon game,
which is a big game for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it was. I have good memories versus Oregon, no doubt. Yeah, there were some good times I had.
That was the year before I got here, and I remember watching you had the pick six, Leighton had the fumble recovery. I was like, I picked the right school for sure. No doubt.
Everybody that scored a touchdown against Oregon in their career, raise their hand.
Yeah. I didn't get to play them.
Maybe I find an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah, I played them several times. I'll raise a hand for everybody that left Albertsons Stadium on a stretcher.
Yeah.
That'd be a good story maybe for a minute or two later.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
I love it.
You got to tell us about the hats. We wore the hat for we got the 90 proof hats on. This is a brand created by 90 proof golfers for 90 proof golfers. Whether you're a great golfer now or you're not, we were all there once. You know, you start off, everybody has this goal of breaking a score of 90, which as a, amateur golfer is like the benchmark of being half decent. And we all know how that goes. Like you're 90 proof. You're not really shooting, under 90s. So it's a brand. If you're out there for the vibes and you love it, rock it.
Big vibe hat.
Nice.
I felt like a better golfer even wearing it. It wasn't showing on the scorecard, but I'll take it.
And we got 2 guests. BJ said before the show that anybody that comes out to the James and asks a question live, he will buy you a drink. So show out next week because we're going to run him for his money. But you guys got to say your names.
Here we go.
Hi, my name's Carrie.
My name's Rachel.
We have a few questions for you guys.
A couple. That's a few beers.
They want a few drinks.
Yeah.
How will the Broncos do Saturday against Oregon?
It's a great question.
Probably 100-0 in my book.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good game for sure, and that's what we always look forward to, and it's going to be sweet because the boys are going in a hostile environment, but that's what we're known for. So
we have a little bit of a history with Oregon, so it's been a good matchup every time that we've played them in times past. So we think this week's going to be another great matchup, and hopefully the Broncos come out on top.
That's great. We love to hear it. Our other question is, what are the odds that Ashton Jeanty will win the Hyman's Award this season?
Great question. Great question.
If he does what he did last week, I'd say good.
Yeah, if he just keeps doing that and running until he's cramping in the end zone, I think he'll definitely come back with it. And he needs to keep hitting the pose to let people know. So that would be sweet.
First game of his Heisman campaign officially, and he sets school records. So if he keeps doing that, he'll be all right.
Not a bad look by any means.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns to start. Can't beat that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. I got a question for you guys. Are you guys going to be at the game or watching the game on Saturday?
We'll be watching.
Yeah. We will be there.
You'll be there?
Big fan.
Big fan.
Yes. You'll see us in the crowd. We'll be wearing blue.
Perfect. Can't miss you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys. That's awesome. There's a couple great places. If you can make the game, hey, we'd love everybody there to show up for Bronco Nation. If not, come to the James. Western Collective has a watch party downtown. Make it there. Both sponsors of the show. If you're staying at home, go to Jackson's, pick up your cold drinks, whatever they might be. But yeah,
we had a good time.
Everybody turn up and watch. Cheer for the Broncos. It'll be a hell of a show.
Oh yeah.
I'll let Kala talk a little bit about last weekend, right?
Yeah. We had a great time at what's now the National at House of Western downtown. They do a great job hosting and making a great environment for people to come and support the Broncos. It was funny though. Everybody gets there, I don't know, probably half an hour before the game, and 2:00 rolls around and it's like looking at the TV, you're like, there's no game on TV. And so we had to deal
brutal
with a little bit of technical difficulties, but we had diehard fans there. There were people on their, phone listening to the radio calls of what was going on. And sure enough, first touchdown, you just hear somebody start yelling, Jeanty, 7-yard touchdown, Jeanty, 7-yard touchdown. And the crowd just goes crazy. And nobody even saw like what happened. We're just trusting this guy's call. So it's like,
that sounds accurate.
You're cheering for the first touchdown of the season. It's like nobody even
you had a bunch of Broncos down there, non-advertised also, right?
Yep.
I mean, Darren College was down there. You were down there.
A bunch of people popped through, and I think every week there'll be a good slew of Broncos.
Absolutely.
If they're not, out of town watching the away game in person, they'll be somewhere around town. So find one of those spots.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. No, and you can't go wrong here at the James.
Where
we're at every week,
and they got new drinks coming out too. You want to talk about those?
James will now be.
They got the Horseshoe Collective.
Horseshoe Collective beer here also. So, big thing about the Horseshoe Collective beer isn't so much everybody loves to order a cold beer, but a portion of the proceeds here go to the NIL Collective, and you're helping pay for guys like Ashton Jeanty to be here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is, a little different than when you guys played.
Yeah, right. And you get to get drunk while paying these guys, so not a bad deal at all. Oh yeah,
we got another question. What's up, man?
The fans are coming in. BJ's about to start running.
This is our guy who called out that first touchdown via radio last week at House of Western. Good call, man.
Big time.
So the question I have is, when Boise State upsets Oregon on Saturday and becomes the giant killers like they've been in the past, where would you rank that all time for wins by Boise State football?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Very good question, Nathaniel.
There's been some top 10 victories that, Boise State's taken down top 10 teams, but I don't know, in my opinion, for the landscape of college football and how guys are able to recruit and pay guys, and, you're competing at a different level, I think, than ever before. And so doing it now more than ever, I think, is one of the more impressive things that we could do.
I think it just reminds everybody who Boise State is. Because there have been against top 10, top 5, whatever. I don't know. It's always hard to rank, right? Because
it is.
They all mean so much personally. When we beat Oregon in 2017, like that was kind of a big deal, right?
For sure.
Mean, we kind of felt like maybe we got left out of the New Year's Six, whatever, and it was a little bit personal. So that was a phenomenal win against a good team. For me, it'll probably, because again, it's personal.
Yeah.
It'll probably be really hard to ever top the first win against Fresno State when they were 8th in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh yeah.
we were nobody. Like nobody even knew who we were.
Right.
Yeah.
And the drama of that game down to the end, but I think those are. I mean, you guys can talk about experience and different ones, but the first Fiesta Bowl, I wasn't here, but I mean, that was obviously beating Oklahoma and Adrian Peterson, national TV.
Crazy.
And the way it finished, probably really hard to top that one.
No doubt.
And I agree.
That might be number one,
Yeah, that's hard to
I remember sitting in the living room in Colorado, and obviously a lot of the guys on the staff at Colorado had come from Boise State. It's New Year's Eve, and we were watching the game in my living room, and they ran circus and like standing up, and I think somebody, I don't even remember who it was, but like broke a lamp in my living room celebrating. And it wasn't like throwing it or anything. Like just it was, like we were all cheering so hard after a maybe not so great year at Colorado, but cheering for the guys, and that was unbelievable. Sure. So
I agree too.
Tough question.
Double O'Neill made a good point. He said it'd be pretty damn high because the Ducks would be 0-4 against us. So just keeping that streak going, I think even just puts the cherry on top. So
yeah, for sure. I feel like there's always opponents that we play. Like it was always BYU too, and we played them, and Fresno kind of the same way. It's like no matter what everybody's records are that year or what's said about what team, there's certain teams that you play, you're like, this one's gonna come down to the last series or two, or like right down to the end, and every play matters. In the times we played Oregon, those 3 times before this, it's felt that way too, where every series matters, every play matters, because something weird happens, and the ball bounces funny in some of these games, and it's like, okay, being it all the way to the end. And so getting those victories versus those opponents where it's that way is always special for sure.
Don't you guys think, like as people always try and rank where things happen, it's always so personal to you. I mean, the basketball debate, Michael Jordan or LeBron or whatever. Like, younger people are probably LeBron, older people are probably Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I think more when you get to like football games, like if you were a part of it, why wouldn't that be number one for you versus something you're like, yeah, I've seen it, that was cool.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's just a tough question and really hard to answer. Probably take somebody that wasn't a part of it, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
I just remember watching as a kid, like those big games, like beating Georgia. I'm a big Florida fan, so seeing Georgia lose anytime, especially by a team that's orange and blue, fires me up. So that game was big. I remember watching as a little kid with my dad. So it's pretty sweet. But I know you're exactly right. Like beating Florida State was an unbelievable feeling for me, just because that was one of the first big time games.
And I would absolutely agree. I mean, we're playing Florida State at Florida State, traveling. Thank God we won, so Colin Cam and Pistone could get out and have some fun. Yeah, maybe not the way I remember that exact conversation going down, but
no doubt. It's funny too. I was with my boys this past weekend back in Florida, and they're like, dude, every podcast you guys somehow talk about beating Florida State or just rubbing salt in their wounds. So
absolutely.
And it's gonna keep coming up. So you guys stay tuned.
Dude, we went from practicing literally at your high school. There's like a fat head of you on the fence as we're walking into it. And it's like, oh, we can't practice outside because it's about to thunderstorm or hurricane. So it's like, take it inside. Then the game gets moved, and it's like, it's 3 or 4 hours on a bus, and then you play them at a different stadium.
I do feel like we may have glossed over that we probably the key to that whole weekend was practicing at Riley Smith's high school.
It's the only way we got it done.
Trail, I believe, right?
It fired me up too, because we ended up going in the gym, and I was like, oh, this takes me way back. Every year at some point we had to get off the field and practice in the gym, so it was like we were used to it. So
just the most unfazed ever. You're like, I'm so home again.
This is awesome.
My high school locker room's right there. Like,
no, it was pretty sweet. That was definitely memorable for me, no doubt.
I just thinking of other huge games. I mean, beating TCU in the Fiesta Bowl, beating Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. Some great games against Virginia Tech, Georgia. That's always the goal of a program, right? Like, have so many great wins that you can't decide.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where that one falls. They're all good.
No doubt.
And, I feel very fortunate, as I'm sure you guys do, to be a part of any of those games that are in the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I think that's a very personal deal for everybody that's actually involved in them. And it's hard to rank it from here. It legitimately might take somebody like Tom Scott or somebody that's been around here forever and, could maybe actually quantify that.
Yeah, completely. What an opportunity for the guys, though, to leave their mark and make it personal for them,
That's pretty sweet.
Leave your legacy.
There's a good question in here. It's from Chris Kosis. Said, what would be the better way to win a game? A goal line stand or punching it in from the 1 yard line?
Ooh, goal line stand. Defense.
Yeah. like BYU.
Yeah. Get us on the field, 4th and 1 from the 1 yard line. They can't get it done. Yeah, BYU at home.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with that too. Like, obviously, it'd be sick for the offense to punch it in, but being able to, especially a home game like that BYU game where we just held our ground. Yeah, versus Zach Wilson. Like, that was such a cool feeling for us because it was like, oh, that's defending the blue. We always talk about it.
Absolutely.
So, that's the loudest it'll be in our home stadium. Oh, yeah. When everything counts on the 1 yard line, like the entire stadium you can hear. And people in the streets are probably yelling from outside, like, rooting for it to get it done. So.
No doubt. That was cool.
That's my defensive bias. Yeah.
I have to I would just say, having been on all sides of that, where you win and lose on both ends of that, it doesn't matter as long as you win. It's awesome.
Yeah. We'll take the win. We'll take the win for sure. For sure. We also like winning when we don't have to hold them to a 4th stack.
That's even better, right?
I'd rather be done by the third quarter.
When you truly like just get after a team and and no matter how they came in or whatever, like, you kind of take their soul.
Yep.
That's
when you make them quit is best feeling ever.
Yep. Makes everything worth it when you're like, I mean, we've had, let's see. I remember like entire second halves where offenses never got a first down on us. It's like 3 and out for an entire second half.
Question.
And those ones, even though.
And that happened more than once. I mean, it wasn't like a couple times. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah.
Those always feel nice.
I get a question for Kala. Okay, we talked about your interception for pick 6 against Oregon in the bowl game. What's your favorite play?
Cool. I think one of the crazier plays that I was a part of, that I made, was Avery Williams' fumbled punt return.
This is one of mine.
Okay, so there was a lot that went into this play. So it's a normal punt return versus Colorado State. Like, I don't know, we called return right or whatever it was to our sideline. And I'm on the front line blocking. And so I run probably, 40 yards down the field blocking my guy. Avery catches the ball, and I kind of make the first block to spring him free around the edge. So at this point, I'm just...
And usually at that point, that's all it takes for Avery, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, all right, Avery's got it. He doesn't have to make the first guy miss. He'll make the next guy miss, and then he's out to the races. Right. So I'm running behind, and maybe I can get in the play again. And I'm probably, 10 yards away, and I see him start to do the Avery stumble, and he's a guy that always stays up no matter what, and he won't go down on the first 3 hits. So one of those moments, and the ball just comes like this, and I can see the Colorado State guy from behind, boop, punch it right out. And here I am, just Johnny on the spot, running after the play, and scoop up the ball in stride, take it down the sideline, and John Hightower comes screaming down and blocks 2 guys. One guy, and then blocks that guy into the punter. He wipes those 2 guys out. So I go untouched down the sideline for, 70 yards or something.
Yep.
And it was just like the craziest, everything that had to happen for that play to
there was literally one bad second of that play when Avery let the ball get away from himself. If anybody ever corrected a mistake, it was going to be Avery. So I'm fully convinced it'll never happen again.
Yep.
But like all these other guys that just didn't quit playing and made it happen. And I don't know how many punt return team touchdowns we scored against Colorado State in your career.
Block kicks, return kicks, fake kicks, fumble pickups, score kicks. Yeah. And like everybody kept playing the whole play. You know, like if John doesn't block the guy at the end, I probably don't score, you know. So it's
maybe might make them all miss.
Yeah. That was a fun play though. That was probably one of the better ones as just a whole team coming together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one. I mean, you've scored. In all seriousness, like, do you have any idea how many touchdowns you scored on non-offensive? Because you really didn't get a chance to play offense, but
probably more than me.
Probably like 4 or 5. Five, I think.
Right?
Yeah. A couple fumbles, like scooping scores and interceptions. And
so you talk about a guy with like a nose for the end zone. And a lot of people probably don't know this. How many did you score in high school?
Oh gosh, like
non-offensive.
Yeah, probably 10 or 11 in high school. Yeah.
So, you know, when people talk about recruiting and all this stuff, you know, sometimes things get overlooked because people get caught up on who you are in terms of your measurables, and they forget to watch your film. Like that was something we knew from the start. Coach Avalos, Coach Harris, like this dude, like all he does is score touchdowns. I don't even know how it happens, but like we need more guys like this. And, you know, then you get to college and you continue to do the same thing. I mean, with you and Avery, like I can't imagine how many non-offensive touchdowns in your two's career. That's, I know Avery was close on punt returns, but, I mean, that's got to be some kind of record.
Yeah, it'd be fun to put them together and see.
And shout out, we throw Dante Dion in there. He scored a few TDs too. But
yeah. I mean, like I'm super grateful and blessed to have had the opportunity because, to your point, like how many schools in my recruiting process just looked right past me or didn't follow through because of those measurables. You know, that was like the first thing that they went to. But a school like Boise State and the staffs that I got to be a part of and coaches and players, it was like, hey, if we can trust you and you do your job and you're a good person and, you know, smart player, like you can earn a role on this team. And so stepping in and knowing that, you know, you guys believed in me and every player that same way. And then being able to put that on tape and have an opportunity to impact the game. I'm just, I guess, one of the guys on the list of many guys that have done it before myself, you know. And so knowing that tradition and history and knowing that I have a real opportunity to play here and make an impact, and I wasn't going to be judged on how big, fast, or strong I was. Now, that stuff's important to grow in, right, and continue to develop, and that's what I was able to do here too. But just knowing, like, hey, I got a shot.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something Boise State's been built on forever and will continue to be built on. You know, Ashton obviously tore it up last weekend more than any running back in a long time. And, you know, I think he was maybe a similar guy. Yeah. People look past him for God only knows why. I have no idea. But, you know, here at Boise State, it was like, what's your production look like?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah, you can do that. And he got here as a freshman and it was like, you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. And you guys both played with him, practice against him, practice with him.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing he did on the field. Well, maybe not nothing, but
yeah.
We've all seen all that stuff in practice, right?
Oh, for sure.
I guess is really my point.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, I mean, your story is kind of the same along those same lines, like comes in as a quarterback. And like, okay, we're going to find a way to get this guy onto the field. And if it's not at quarterback, like he can play tight end for us and be a great guy who contributes and team captain and all the stuff. So it's like, you kind of walk that same path, you know, in the story of Boise State.
And I think a big part, like when I think of you and Avery, like you're talking about like just having a chance and making the most out of it. It's not coming in. A lot of guys will come in complacent when they're big time 5-star guys, but like you guys that had to come in and fight for your spot. Like we talk about like the separations and the preparation, like you guys truly came in every week and wanted to be the most prepared people. And that's where that success came on the field. Like people see the plays that you guys make. They're like, how do you know that was going to happen? But it's like hours and hours of film all the way back to January.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have countless stories of just Avery calling me or me calling Avery, and it's like, dude, you show back up to the facility at who knows what hour, and you're just in there like hanging out, put some music on, and you call out plays together. Like, all right, when we see this, boom, it's gonna be this.
Yeah, and obviously like fall camp, you guys cheat.
Fall camp, spring ball,
so
like literally, how many plays in a practice did you not know exactly what play was coming?
Yeah. Maybe there was a couple I had to guess a little bit, but for the most part, I had a pretty good idea.
And I would get mad.
And hey, I'm not even saying like cheating, like watching like you guys just had that knack and you knew what was coming.
And that's when I would get mad. I'm like, dude, they're just watching our cut-ups. They know it's coming, and then you do the same thing in the game. I'm like, all right, this is pretty legit. Pretty legit. I was like,
those guys, and you guys were also great at never telling what the tells were.
Yep.
Until after fall camp. Then you back, hey, by the way.
Once we get after them, and then it's like, okay, boys, here's how we knew that it was coming, and then we'll roll from there. But you gotta keep being productive in fall camp against the offense.
I know. I would try to switch it up. I'm like, all right, Colin knows some type of tick that I'm doing that's giving it away, so I'm going to completely do the opposite of it. And you still saw through it sometimes.
Dude, the fun part is when you're like, okay, like I know that, like if I'm playing the overhang, I know that I'm going to be the read on this play when it's the running back to me and I get a zone block away and I got two receivers out here, right, slants, whatever. I'm the key. When you know that, that's when it gets fun because you're like, I'm going to tell you, quarterback, what you think I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna do the opposite, right? Like I'm showing you I'm gonna come down, and nope, I'm popping right back out. Like
we
into
talk
this
about
window
that all the time. We're like, all right, if Kekaula looks like he's gonna blitz, he's not blitzing. I wouldn't even caught on to that. I wouldn't even look at safety rotation. I was like, all right, he looks like he's coming. He's lying. He's gotta be lying. But I think in fall camp I had one play on you that it actually worked, and because we always ran those screens where I would like go out and block the nickel and the flat. And then we had the one play where I would bluff and then run down the sideline. Yeah. And it happened one time and I caught it and I was talking shit to you the whole day. And I'm like, I'm like, it's 1 to 100 now.
I go guess what? This never happening again. Okay.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
I literally, think, and there were guys before you that were obviously very good. But you and Avery at the same time, I mean, you talk about guys that could basically control the whole defensive backfield, make sure everybody knew what was going on. I think Dante Dion and Darian Thompson had a little bit of that going on.
Yeah.
Going back, but Andy Avalos and Corey Hall, they'd be screaming the plays like the whole game.
Yeah.
I think there's just a ton of that's been carried on, and it probably started with Andy and Corey. But like, if you don't know what they're running, that's on you a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And it carried over, and it's been a huge part of the Boise State defense. I mean, I don't think there's very many times we get fooled. We might get beat, or might have something, but fooled not very often.
Yeah, it was so much fun playing with guys like Avery, guys like DeAndre Pierce, guys like
DP. You throw him in the mix with you two. That pretty much
was the field side DBs. It was Avery at corner, DP at safety, and me at nickel. So like between the three of us, we look at each other. We're like, "Here it comes, boys! Flood! It's coming right now! Like this is flood. It's 4x1, and they're to that hatch in this part of the field. It is flood. Sure enough,
that's what got to be a good field.
Oh, dude, it's so much fun, and knowing that the guys are on the same page, right? Like, I'm gonna go, and these two guys are also going, and we're gonna be sweet. Just let it fly from that point. But like bringing up, Av is a really good point because he did it as a player here, and then he was the DC for my first 2 years, and so it just got kind of passed down generational, if you will, from one crew of Broncos who played that same way, and then he wears the coaching hat and kind of teaches us the game through his lens as a coordinator, and made it super easy for us to simplify things.
And there were obviously a lot of people in between. I mean, I think Pete Kwiatkowski, Jeff Choate. I mean, you're talking about big time coaches over the years that have really kind of pushed that forward, but and other players too. And a little bit like I'm saying, I don't want to speak about guys that I wasn't here for, but I think guys like Winston, Antoine Murray, so many different guys.
Yeah. And it's cool too. Like when you talk about Av, like when he was head coach and we had our leadership meetings and he would go in and just completely just pick apart every single tell that the other team had in a period of 30 minutes. And I was blown away the first meeting. I was like, he just broke down their whole offense. Like, I'm not even on defense and I could go out and call out what they're doing. Like he broke it down. Like that type of high level. You can
imagine how bad that was like during spring ball and fall camp. It's like, hey, these guys are like whatever. And you're like, yeah. We're hoping these guys only have a week, not a month to figure it out.
Yeah. Call it. Yeah, you guys are asking a lot of great questions. There's one from Chad and also Michael, kind of joint question. It was said, what was it like playing on the same team as your brother? And then especially that one where you both guys got an interception.
It was BYU?
Fresno. Yeah. Playing with my brother was awesome, man. I think looking back now that I'm done and on the other side of it, I appreciate it a lot more probably now than I did when I was playing, because when you're in it, I mean, you guys know you go from practice to recovery to meetings and back to practice, and you're kind of in it, right? You're like head down trying to just get all the pieces right, and there's a lot of studying and time spent just trying to be prepared for Saturday for 60 minutes and getting it right. So looking back now, being able to do that with him and be in the same room together most every day and kind of have him follow, what I did well and learn from the stuff that I didn't do well, but really get to share that time and that experience and just how to prepare and build a process, I think was a ton of fun for me to now kind of see him step into his own person now that I'm not on the team and kind of grow in that as he will. And like being on the field at the same time, right next to each other, and it's pretty sweet. Each play you're communicating with your brother. And there were some times where we'd not say anything on the field, but be in the right spots. And you go in the film room after and it's like, okay, like unless your brother's on this team, you need to communicate. I mean, these two guys are going to be on the right page, but everybody else bad. Like we need hand signals, we need communication. Right. So being able to do that with him was, fun. And I think mostly for our family, right. Being able to experience
how
that.
Awesome is that? You guys represented it pretty much every game.
Yeah,
the Kaniho family showed up strong.
Yeah, we tried to, and we're proud of where we come from and the place that built us and poured into us. So for us to be able to bring them along and know that, like, hey, if it wasn't for me and my brother, they wouldn't have these experiences was awesome to see them in the stands after the game. And like Fresno, right, the game where we both had interceptions. I think it was the third time or something that it had ever happened in college football history, brothers having interceptions in the same game. Like to do that, for me to have the first one to kind of start the tone of that game, and then for him to sort of have the last one that was almost the nail in the coffin, and then my mom and dad both be there. It was like, okay, I think we're living in a dream here now or something. Like this is crazy that it all happened that way. But yeah, just blessed and thankful that I had that time with him and now get to support him as big brother from the sidelines, and we live together still. So I get to be around enough where I'm like,
he goes home to another coach.
How many Kaniho family friends will show up at the Hawaii game this year?
Oh my gosh, we'll probably have more blue in the stands than there will be green, to be honest with you. Like it's going to be senior homecoming, and everybody's been waiting for this time where they could have fans, because we played there in 2020.
Yeah, and it was awful.
That was just bizarre.
My only time to Hawaii was during COVID.
You couldn't do nothing. Stay in the room.
I got to touch the water one time. I made it.
Yeah, so I think
I went out for a jog, and they're like, you have to wear a mask.
Yeah,
I'm like, really?
And nobody else is out here. Like it's me and the ocean breeze. But okay, here we go. So yeah, I think there's some pent up demand for people to be able to watch some games in person in Hawaii. So
I'm trying to go. I'm like, I'm staying.
Come
with
on, yeah, I'll be there for a week, man. Come on, yeah. Anybody else that's there, come and find me. I'll show you the local spots.
And then. Do we have the family supplying like a plate lunch snack again.
I actually just sent Sam Wade, the dietitian, today a text for one of my family's numbers. Like, hey, he'll take care of you guys post practice, post game, like whatever stuff you need. Ask and you shall receive. We'll take care of you guys.
Yeah,
so.
You want a real meal? That's it, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I know it's funny when Tubner went and visited Nohi. He would come back full island boy. He was just listening to island music. He had all the slang words going.
Yeah, like, why is he talking pigeon? Look at this guy right there. This Holly boy.
Seaside.
I guess a beach is a beach, right? Nah.
Not even close.
Ooh. All right. They said, where's the party at Friday night in Eugene? I would say follow Coach Riddle and you'll be at the right spot.
You would be following the wrong person. Because I'll be in Bend on Friday night.
Okay,
I'm showing up Saturday.
Okay. We don't know yet. That's
the
the
Motel
answer.
6, maybe. I don't know. Shout out to everybody staying at the Motel 6.
Come on.
Yeah.
We're not going to be staying there much. That's just their sleeping grounds. But we went cheap. We're still pretending like we're in college. I'm
okay.
staying with
Where's
Connor
Billy?
Riddle.
Where's Billy?
Yeah.
Staying with Billy Bowens and Connor Riddle. So
we have an
you guys pull
Airbnb
up
with
at Motel 6 for the
couches.
pregame.
Dude, that is great. I would
be sweet.
I almost like you can come stay with us if you want, but I kind of want to make you just stay that one out and like do the night.
Like, yeah, it's a glorified closet. We're just gonna be there to change and then we're gonna go out.
We're not spending time there. Yeah. Open for recommendations though for
Yes.
Friday night party.
Hit
Please.
us up definitely because we're gonna be deep with a lot of the football boys out there. It's gonna be a fun group. So we would love to
hopefully
come
all the
link up
Boise
with some of
State
the
people
fans.
connect.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some good tailgates going on and probably open to everybody. But yeah, it should be I think Boise State's gonna Autzen Stadium's loud. Okay. It is loud. It's gonna be all that, but Boise State will have plenty of people there. And I think the Broncos are gonna show up and play well.
Oh no.
You know, hey, everybody's got concerns after the first game. Nobody more so than the coaches, right?
Right.
They're fixing that stuff on both sides, right? I mean, but yeah, I think this is going to be a lot closer game than people think.
I agree.
No doubt.
The real question is where's the party, the celebration on Saturday?
That is
That's
absolute
going to
truth.
be where we all need to pull up together. That would be fun. But
Yeah.
you're right. This game's going to be sweet, and Kekaula can attest to it. Like playing in that stadium, I've never been out there. I've just seen pictures, and one of my coworkers actually went last week because he's a Vandal, and he was like, "Dude, it's legit."
Yeah.
Like, so I'm fired up to be out there and kind of feel the game atmosphere and see all that going on. So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, doing it on the spectator fan side, like because I went to UW last year when you guys opened up the season there. It's so much fun being with all of like your buddies. Like I mean, we're all gonna be together, and now you have a different perspective of the game, but you also get to enjoy the game day experience, and then cheer even louder for your guys because you know all the guys down there on the field. It's like it's a special feeling going into somebody else's territory and just being proud of your guys either way, right?
Yeah, and it's fun too. Like now, like we get tickets for games, and so usually we're the ones we're all trying to fight to get tickets out to our friends. And now I'm like the old guy asking them for tickets, hitting up my ex roommate.
I just need one.
One ticket, please save it for me.
Leaning into that.
Yeah, it's and I think over the years has developed into a great place to play and experience that. And I think the Broncos have always thrived on big games at big stadiums. So, you know, I don't think that'll be a huge deal. The last time, I guess I'm the only guy up here probably that's played at Autzen Stadium.
Yeah. And
I do have to confess, I don't actually remember leaving Autzen Stadium. I was a true freshman, Oregon State, Civil War, which I don't think they can call it that anymore for whatever reason, because who knows why. But I was the backup quarterback, got into the game, and was kind of actually rolling pretty well, and took off running, went to slide, and I saw a guy coming like straight ahead. I did not see the corner coming from the side. And this was, you know, kind of before the head-to-head era was a big deal.
Yeah.
And we also had the hard turf, and I got smoked. Helmet to helmet, helmet to turf, helmet to helmet.
Every helmet thing.
Yeah. And this explains a lot about me. But I got hit so hard, I was A, unconscious, and B, in convulsions.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I was.
Oh my gosh. I think we're going to have a better experience this time.
Well, there's no question.
I need to find that video.
And it exists somewhere. But like I said, I don't remember leaving. They pulled the ambulance, which was actually working on somebody in the stands.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
And they brought the ambulance onto the field, like strapped me to the backboard, like the whole deal. And I can talk about this easily, and it never affected my career because I don't remember a minute of it.
Yeah.
But I remember waking up in the ambulance.
Yeah.
And I tried to sit up, and like people were pushing me down because they didn't know if I had a spine deal or, whatever. Like, don't move.
Right.
I remember wiggling my fingers, wiggling my toes, could feel them all moving. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Went back to sleep.
Yeah.
Next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital and, had visitors and people checking on me. And I'm like, oh, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
What happened in the game? It was like, we lost like 44-0.
Don't remember it.
I was like, yeah, missed that one. So
beats me.
So yes, I have actually played there. It was not a great experience. This one is damn right going to go 100%.
This is the one. This is the one, Red. Let's get him back.
Yeah.
No
And yeah, I've been there for a few wins.
Mhm.
Not with the Broncos, but the Beavs, we snuck up on them a couple times.
Oh yeah.
So I think that'll be a fun game. I think it's going to be competitive, way more than people think. And I will tell you this, I expect Oregon to play, if you look at their stats, you wouldn't even know that it was probably a close game against Idaho. But I would expect them to play better than that even.
Right.
But I expect the Broncos to play well too.
For sure. It's always the first games, like all the growing pains, and then you lock in. Second game, it's just like you're on a roll.
For sure, yeah. I'd say second week teams are probably the most dangerous because you've had a full off season and you're still fresh, right? And you've had one game to be like, okay, we got it out. Like the first game's done. Now we're like back dialed in. So I'd expect to see fireworks, from both sides. Everybody they'll play well on both sides, and it'll be a great game,
no doubt.
And both teams probably have a little something in the in the holster holding it. And not that they were necessarily planning on holding it, like, oh, we're going to beat these guys, but you just have stuff you've worked on through fall camp that you didn't even get to in game one for whatever reason.
Yep.
So I would expect both teams to come out with a really intense, fun game plan on both sides of the ball. So
yeah, the team that can lock into their keys quickest and most consistently is going to find, I think, success, early.
Right. And controlling the momentum too. That's what I noticed through college football. It's such a game of momentum swings that, like, obviously Oregon has a great offense and they're going to put up points, but it's how are we going to recover from that and have our offense go out? And so really just making those swings and making sure we hold the momentum for the majority of the game.
Well, I think that's a great point. Even from the Georgia State game, or Georgia Southern, game on Saturday, Georgia Southern kind of comes storming back, takes a lead, and then Boise State, everybody wants to get on the defense. They stop them like 3 times in a row and get 3 scores and jump back up on them by 3 scores. I mean, hey, having a little adversity in the first game, not all bad, right?
Not all bad. It's like, I'm glad we saw that in the first game, so you roll into week 2, like, let's clean that up and make sure it doesn't happen again. For sure.
No doubt. It was fun too, because I was over in Gainesville watching the Florida game, and that wasn't pretty. But yeah, we didn't even go to the game. So we that was the plan, but we had all of our family there. So my brother goes to Florida and he had a place out there. So we kind of had a big tailgate at his spot and then all the family. So we just stayed and watched on TV, and we had the dual setup where we had the Florida game and the Boise game on.
More important to spend time with family.
For sure. It was sweet. And it was fun because I was like, all right, I'm watching.
When you're not invested, it's way more important to spend time with family.
And I got to talk some trash. I was like, what are the real this is the orange
I saw
team,
a question in there about Riley and Florida State too. Like,
oh yeah, that Florida State. I love seeing them lose. I love it, man. I don't even. We watch those games and we get fired up. We're like, well, we lost too, but still, it makes it feel a lot better. But that'll be fun. Yeah, the Florida game was cool. It's a whole different environment. I will say our fans are way better. I mean, they have a lot more people at their games, but like. I was telling them because they were talking about how many people are in our stands compared to theirs. I was like, dude, you go to one of our games and it feels like one of the loudest stadiums I've ever played in. And it's so vertical too. And I was telling about the in the corner of the student section where they play the backup truck sound and we get all those false starts. I'm like, I don't see that anywhere else but us. So it's our fan base is legit, being able to go to other campuses and see how they are. So
absolutely. Our guys will handle the crowd noise fine, and it'll be okay. That. I mean, not saying that there won't be an issue or two somewhere along the way, but to assume that's crowd noise might be wrong. When it comes into Bronco Stadium,
it's a legit feeling. And we talk about the momentum shifts. Like our crowd gets involved, and you feel it on the field. You get the chills, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to go. And they really changed the pace of the game and keep us always on the up. So it's pretty cool to be able to play at Albertsons Stadium.
Yeah, the best moments at home, like for me personally, were you come out of a TV timeout or something and it's maybe the fourth quarter and third down and I don't know, 7 or 5 or whatever, but backed up in the south end zone and you're on defense and you got them pinned to a third down where like this is the down that counts. You're right in the south end zone right there. Like you hear people and you see them banging on the the end zone cushions and whatnot. And the south end zone goes crazy, and it's like this is why you come to Boise State is for 3rd and 7.
Sometimes it's not even that they jump off sides; they just can't get off on the count, and which gives the Broncos a huge advantage too.
Yeah. I always look up. I see Boise State, Fred Flintstone or Elvis in the south end zone. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Yeah, I didn't see anyone dressed up like that. So we definitely have it special down here, no doubt.
All of it makes a big impact for sure.
It really does. Yep. It's pretty sweet. And I love when we run out the tunnel or we're going in and out, the fans are so interactive and it's cool. We get to talk to them and they're always just fired up and it's always the same faces. They're there every single game.
Yep, absolutely.
It's pretty sick. No doubt. That's awesome. Yeah. Kellen for Mayor 11. Oh yeah. It says, what was it like playing in the Oregon in the Vegas Bowl?
That was a really fun game. I mean, we had just come off of winning the Mountain West Championship a couple weeks before. I'd say Vegas does a really good bowl experience for the stuff that the team's able to do that week of the game. And so bowl games, no matter where you go and play are always fun because you're there usually for travel games. You leave the day before the game and then you come back right after the game and it's business the whole time. But for the bowl games, you get to go down 3 or 4 days before and you practice there and you do bowl activities. And so the pep rallies and the dinners, with a ton of Boise State fans there the whole week, you're kind of getting prepped and amped up for your last game of the season. And you want to play hard for the seniors and you want to finish it out right. And that team's never going to be together again. And so rolling in there, I also feel like that year we, had something to prove. Like you said early on, it's like, hey, we just won the Mountain West Championship, but like, we still know that, we're Boise State. This is Oregon. We're maybe not expected to win here against a Pac-12 school who's has Justin Herbert at quarterback. And so rolling in there and just being able to, I guess, put our stamp on that season and leave with an exclamation mark. We had so many good plays on offense, on defense, on special teams. Like it was an entire team win with no shortage of adversity too. I mean, we battled back against some.
I was going to say entire team win. We had some great moments on offense, and we had a couple bad moments right before halftime.
Yeah, there's with a pick six pick six and a fumble for 6, right?
Both 90-plus yards.
Yeah, a failed Statue of Liberty.
and it was 28-14 going into half.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Coach Harst being, like, hey, yeah, we're pissed about like the finish of the half, but guys, we're good.
Yeah.
Like it's 0-0. Like, clear your mind. Let's move on. And then we came right back out and, I think drove down the first drive of the second half, scored touchdowns, stopped them, and, really turned into a non-game on what could have been a bigger game.
Yeah, I think that halftime locker room, there was definitely no hesitation. And there was no like, can we do this? Are we good? It was like, no. Like, we're good. We're going to go out there and just keep rolling. Like, take those 2 plays away and we score 2 more touchdowns. It's like, we're up.
It could have been 42.
Yeah, it could be 0 points to a lot of points.
After the first, I don't remember which one was first, the pick six or the fumble return, but we literally, I think, returned a decent return and then hit Said, who makes like a one-handed catch out of bounds for 50 yards.
Yeah, we basically had like 2 play drives down to the 5, and it was like, guys, all we got to do is score from the 5 and we're all right. Like, we'll be just fine. And then on defense, I think we had like 3 interceptions or something.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of
late
productivity.
One.
Yeah, forced fumbles, all of the stuff. So
no doubt. Hey, we got another question. Another thirsty customer on BJ's tab.
Another beer on BJ's tab.
Say your name and question.
I got my second beer in, so. All right, this is a serious question. So, besides Ashton, who do you guys think is going to be like the next biggest key player for this Oregon game?
Oh yeah, great question. Great question.
Shout out to the Hoyt group, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
THD. Yeah, let's go.
Elliot, we'll get you on here soon.
Oh yeah. You want to ask your second one?
2 questions.
Yeah, we'll ask. All right. Okay, cool. I would say on offense, Latrell Caples, in my opinion, because he's a stud. And you saw it last game too. Like he was making plays, and also like Oregon watching film, obviously from last game, seeing Ashton have 6 touchdowns on the ground. They're going to be loading the box and trying to stop that. So we have to make some production in the air. And I think Latrell is that guy. And a lot of the receivers had a lot of big time plays. But
that's what I was going to say. I mean, the great thing about the receivers right now, I don't think you can focus on.
You really can't.
If you're really geared up to stop Ashton, you're going to have a hard time focusing on one receiver.
For sure.
There's going to be a lot of one-on-ones.
No doubt.
And but I like Trell.
I like Trell. I think he's just due for one big blowout game, and I feel it coming because he's put in all the work, and he's one of those guys that's like, once he gets going, there's no stopping him. So
I'm gonna go defense. He didn't specify if it had to be offense. I don't think.
That's fair.
I'm gonna go Ty Benefield, wearing number 0, playing safety. He's obviously had a really good career and production up to this point as a young guy, but now he's kind of stepping into his leadership role on the defense, playing safety and managing things from the back end. I think he led the team in tackles last week, but had an opportunity in the end zone on one of their touchdowns where I mistimed or kind of just was on the wrong side of a potential interception. I think he's going to come back hungry this game. And
because he's going to understand. Sometimes it takes a minute to understand the speed of the game, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
This week, I agree 1,000% makes that play.
Yeah, he'll make that play. And I mean, he's confident in knowing exactly what he should have done. And it's a quick correction. It's not anything, too hard to handle for him. And knowing how many times the ball's going to be in the air, it's like, okay, let's go and get the ball when it's flying around as a defensive back unit. So I think he'll have an impact for sure.
And he's definitely on the watch list for guys like you and Avery, because right when he stepped on campus, he was just following all the older guys. He's like, how do I do this? What's the best way to separate myself? Like, he was hungry from the second he stepped on, and all the freshmen are, and a lot of them fizzle out throughout the process, but he was one of those guys to the very end that was just always continuing to try to learn. So he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be just more prepared than everybody else.
Yeah, I think the other guy, like I wouldn't underestimate this week is Tubes going home.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's a good point.
I would expect him to play really well and have a big game. And
what a journey for him, right? Walking on here from Oregon, and none of the Oregon schools gave him a shot, and we give him a shot. He does his thing, and now captain, all the stuff. So,
and I'm not, not putting pressure on him or anything. I think he's a guy that, will rise to this occasion and
no doubt
play within the scheme of the defense, but make some plays.
Yep.
I really do.
No doubt.
Take some heads off.
Second question. Oh, yeah. It's a BOGO deal right here?
Yeah, BOGO deal. I was told this is a good question. So, Kekaula, you got any good stories about Riley or Coach?
Oh, that is a good question. Great question.
That is a great question. Well, we hosted you on your recruiting visit.
Yeah.
And so I see little wide-eyed Riley come in here as, quarterback, and then it turns into somehow him trying to block me every practice. I'm like, wait, hold on. I was supposed to be picking this guy off, and now I got to hit him every practice. Like, come on now. I mean,
that was fun. That was a big part why I came here. Is like you, Chase Cord, Isa, you guys were roommates, went bowling at Big Al's.
Yeah.
And that was fun. I couldn't play too good because I didn't want to beat Harson and lose my scholarship. but that was fun. And then we got to go out and went to a little party, and it was fun because that's where I met DJ Schramm and Brandon Hawkins, Phil Mills, guys in my class that came early in the spring, and it was like just hanging out with them for a night. Met Jay Henney.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh dude, these boys are awesome. Like Boise's been awesome, but just meeting some cool ass dudes and being a part of them. You guys did an awesome job with the hosting.
Yeah, we locked him in from the get-go for sure.
Yeah.
After day one, I was like, dude, this guy's gonna come here and he's gonna do it for us. And then it's like, oh wait, now I gotta like go against him every day. Wait, what?
Call it. Well, I would say this before that. Call it for being maybe not the biggest guy, like one of the hardest guys that tight ends ever had to block. Like we would sit in meetings and be like, all right, when he does this, he's about to come underneath, like literally trying to game plan a guy that we're not even playing against. Like, hey guys, you understand when we get to the season, it's way easier.
Way easier. It was like,
honestly, I felt the same way too. I was like, wait, if I don't have to play these guys in the regular season, like these other tight ends are going to be way easier too.
I remember like the first time I was going up against a nickel blocking in space, I was like so nervous because I think he's going to do a Euro step on me, like call it. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And he just let me block him. I was like, this is awesome. Way better.
Wait, it's going to be like this every week?
Like, this is great.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, we had some battles for sure with the tight ends. Like it got me so much better, like having to go against John Bates, having to go against you, having to go against all of these guys. And if I could figure that out every day during fall camp or in practice, I had the utmost confidence rolling out there week one of like, nobody's going to block me as hard or as technical as these guys, and like be smart blockers too, right? Like not just like run out there and try to dive at you, because that was easy for me. It's like, okay, like, gonna make you miss, but smart blockers and know their spot in the call and in the offense, and knowing when to make the right angle or when to not. It's like that's all the fun kind of inner workings of the game that you get to go against. But I don't know if I have any specific Ridge story. Do you have one? Like
you already talked about the punt return. I think that was phenomenal. I mean, to me I don't know if it's a story, it's just a way of life. Kekaula was obviously a huge special teams guy for us. No matter how much he was playing on defense, he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I can be on that.
Yeah.
So we would have meetings almost every week. Like, all right, here's you got to get this guy right. You got to get this guy right. You got, here's the check. And college just handled it all. And never once did I ever think like, oh my God, I'm overloading the guy. Like he can't handle it. There were times he was like, I'm good, I can do it. I'm like, no, you need to take plays off. Like, you're not going to be on kickoff return this week, but we would put him on kickoff return occasionally as a decoy.
I was going to say, we had some really fun times where I was like, get to come and be a part of the tricks or the, plays up our sleeve that we set up the week before, and being able to work together and understand.
And probably way too many times it was like, we need to use Kyle as a decoy because if he's on the field, they'll know we're going to it.
Yeah, that was the touchdown versus Hawaii. Remember that? It was like
the fake throwback.
Yeah, call it, run out there. And the week before, I mean, this is like your genius as our coordinator. We're gonna do this week. We're gonna set it up for next week, and we're like building off of stuff that we showed before. So we did. I think it was a throwback punt from Avery to me, right? It's kind of same look, different special teams, but all one and the same of a throwback. And it's like, okay, this week, Kyle, run out there and like make it very obvious that you're on the field for this play, and just show them your jersey and do a little extra stretching and tighten your gloves like you're gonna get the ball, and then run back there, decoy,
waving your
Got him.
hands.
Yeah.
You're a good actor.
Jumped up. Ooh, the goal line spin cycle.
The tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, now
that'd be awesome, but yeah, I'm guessing probably not. That might have been a one. Well, it wasn't a one-timer. That was a two-timer.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Hartz.
I begged for it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I just want to spin.
And then you never know. Anything's possible, but
and then they put some of the D linemen in on goal line. And
those guys have no
they have
reaction.
no spins. They're going to fall on the field, and the play's we're going to have to call timeout. I'm glad we killed that for them.
Al, I'm trying to think. Bates, Al, and
Alex Bates, and was it Stoney?
Stoney?
It was.
I think it was Stoney.
Yeah.
And Jake Rowe
Yeah.
would have been the leader on that, but was injured in the game before. And so I don't know. It takes a special special crew of guys to pull that off.
I remember it was funny. Just like we would have one period of I think it was kickoff because the tight ends were never on kickoff. So we would go over in the corner and we would just practice all of our celebrations, and we would practice the spin cycle, even though it never was getting called. But we were all dialed in. We were getting our choreography down, and it was legit. That was probably one of the most fun parts of practice. And G5.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, just Google Boise State spin touchdown.
But it takes a lot of work. Those celebrations, you got to dial it in.
Honestly, some of those special teams periods, we were locked in for all of them, Red, for sure. We knew what we were doing. But
I have no doubt.
But there were some good times where you knew, I'm nowhere on this depth chart, and neither are these four guys. So, we're gonna go over here in this corner and do who knows what, play whatever game on the sideline, while that special team is going on.
Yeah.
Or you end up doing random drills with other position groups. We were doing D-line circuits in the middle of all of this. It's 4 DBs running around over there, or doing a celebration or whatever it was.
Dude. So fun.
Yeah.
Ooh, best trash talker on the offense.
That's a really good question. I immediately think wide receiver room. Which of the wide receivers was just always yapping? Dude, I'm stumped. I'll think of a good answer for you though as I think about it here. Some offensive. I would say the best trash talker, not on offense but on the team, was always Avery Williams. He
it didn't matter because he played a little offense. So
yeah, true.
Right.
He would do it in such a fun way though, where it was never over the line. It was just enough to just be a little over the top in certain celebrations or walking down the sideline talking to who knows who of who he is and what he's gonna do. And
unless you were part of money season.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That was my group.
Or bag season, whatever.
Bag season. Yeah, bag season. I'm in my bag.
It was good. I remember going out and we were freshmen. It was our PRPs where it was just player run practices during the summer, no coaches. And afterwards we would do one-on-ones and I was throwing to the receivers and stuff. And we would be out there for 30 minutes to an hour after. And Curtis wasn't even guarding anyone. He just went out there to talk shit. And so him and Avery and then Dez, they all get in the same group.
The three of those guys together. It was
and they were talking shit to Static, Billy, all the new guys just to see if they could break them mentally.
Yep.
And Static, coming from Texas, I'm not letting anyone disrespect me. And then he probably went over and over and over again. And it was just a battle for the ages. And it was sick because then Static became a good trash talker and he wouldn't let anyone under his skin.
Oh, yeah.
That test from the jump was always fun to watch.
I've seen some of the best sideline dance, Avery dancing at the offensive sideline. You know what I'm talking about? The most the most oddball dances, but it was the funniest thing ever.
Funny.
And it's he could do it because he was gonna go out there and play well and prepared and did all the stuff. So say whatever you gotta say.
Yeah, right. And that was fun during practice. If the defense got a pick or we moss somebody, the whole entire team runs on the field and is punting the football, doing dances, and it's like 30 seconds of chaos, and then coach looks over and everyone's sprinting back to the sidelines for the next play. But it was hilarious.
We're back.
But Avery definitely led the troops on.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Probably
Hopefully not me.
No, probably Chase Cord because he was my roommate. So it was like, if I could get Chase Cord, then it was a story for like the rest of the night and the 2 nights after that. Of like, hey, if anything comes up, bro, remember in practice when I did that?
Yeah. And I know he hated that.
But yeah, for sure. I think technique, fundamentals and technique makes the scheme, and there's just very small adjustments that they can make that'll have a huge difference.
And the first game's always tough, right? Because you don't know if they've changed anything or not.
Oh yeah.
The second game, you at least have a little bit like, hey, these guys are doing the same stuff last
and you get
year, so
and you get used to
they'll be fine.
The speed, right? Like, oh, okay, this is what my tempo and my technique should feel like, and how my leverage should feel and look like. So I have no doubt that those guys are going to bounce back and
I
don't have a good week.
Oh, another special guest. Grab a chair, Bill. If you guys want the best service ever, come to the James and find Billy Bones. He's cooking it up over here.
Billy B.
Hello. I'm definitely not on the clock right now. Just
should be. It's free advertising.
Right. Hey, what's going
Come
on?
down here and
fellas?
see Billy while he's rehabbing his knee and get ready for all the things in his future.
Absolutely.
But we had a good question for you. They asked us who the person that talked the most trash on offense was.
That's a good one. I don't really. I would have to throw. I'm in there for sure. I'm top 2.5. But I definitely I've said some words before to some people. But I don't really know. I think our O-line gets after some guys.
They do. That's
sneaky.
great.
Connie might be the winner.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they do it like low key though. They do it low key
And it turns into a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Right. When you just see a big brawl in the middle of the field, some words were exchanged between the linemen. So
And I think it depends. Like the people that talked the most trash were the injured guys that were on the sideline. Like I remember last year when we were injured in Latrell, because Trail's pretty quiet.
Right.
But then we would go out there and he's just getting in everybody.
Oh yeah, sideline, the peanut gallery. They have to get involved. They play a huge role. I mean, they fired me up and they also chirp the other team, get in the other team's head. Like it's a mind game too. Yeah,
it is a mind game. Bill.
I definitely got to go with JL Skinner.
Yeah,
I think that's his hit against Oklahoma State on one of their end arounds. He picked the guy up, lifted him off his feet, and just embarrassed him. And the whole stadium was like, "Oh!" And I was once again part of the peanut gallery. He knocked your chin strap loose. Like just going crazy. It was incredible.
Anybody Josh Booker Brown?
Ooh.
In practice?
Would wear people out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Had to take him off scout kickoff because he knocked too many people out.
This was a guy that would run down on scout kickoff 30, 40 yards before hitting somebody and send guys 8 yards back on first contact.
Yeah.
They made the new rule because of him.
Yeah.
He was sprinting and teeing off, and you knew he was dangerous because he would come to summer workouts and just a wife beater, and we're like, oh shit. We're like,
I mean, scout team defense versus Rat, like good on good, or I'd see him and Larson like a pulling play or somebody just 3 yards from the line of scrimmage.
He wasn't afraid of anybody.
And it's like, bro, the ball's over there. He's like, I don't care. Like this guy's over here, and I'm gonna hit this guy.
And the coach, he'd be on scout team, and the coach start yelling at him because he's like finishing the play. He's like, I do not care. He's like,
Guy was a legend. Scotty, I bet, I have no idea, but I'm guessing Jim Harbaugh walked into like practice like on day one and was like, that guy looks like a fullback.
And then they pulled him catching the end zone out of the back.
I was like, I've scored before, I swear. Scott was advocating for himself.
And he's still going to play D-line, I'm sure, but I think that's probably something they're going to have some fun with, and I bet you he's damn good at it.
Yeah. Did they change his number? Did he have to? That's right. Yeah, he had to become 4. Oh, Dale High. Shout out to
Homedale, who hosted every game in the Valley, every high school game in the Valley last week, because apparently the air quality in Homedale was much better than in Boise.
They had a bubble. Shout out to
Must have had
Homedale.
a bubble.
Natural indoor facility that keeps the smoke out.
Bill, they got a question. Give us an update on how your knee's doing and how life's going for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Knee's doing very well. I'm about 5 months, a little bit over, out of surgery. Doing things, can cut, can jump, not to my full capabilities yet, but we're doing really well. I mean, the physical therapists keep telling me that I'm ahead of the curve right now in terms of getting back and getting healthy. So that's always good to hear. But I mean, I'm just excited, keep working, continue to go. And we're moving in the right direction for sure.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. And so if any teams looking out, Billy will be ready soon.
I've been talking to some coaches, so stay tuned. Through CFL, I've been talking to some indoor arena. I've been talking to some different coaches, so staying in touch. My agent gonna continue to figure some things out. So
no doubt, we're fired up to see what Bill does. And I'm roommates with him, so we always chop it up every night when we're watching our TV shows. So it's a lot of exciting things.
I'm supposed to be watching a TV show.
I'm knocked out. Show now? We just finished one. So if you guys have any recommendations, we just finished Your Honor, which great show for sure. A little Heisenberg action like Breaking Bad.
Yes.
So
is that on Netflix?
Netflix. Yeah. Great show. Yeah, but we finished up our Love Island show. So we watched.
There we go. The truth comes out. That's what we want.
We have a wide range of shows. So that Boise State lives by Love Island.
Oh yeah.
That's the show for the team. But if you guys have any recommendations on TV shows, let us know.
This might be a crazy hot take, but I would listen to Adele. I would listen to some Adele to soothe the nerves and kind of get me relaxed. There's a thing I like to do is like keep it low key and smooth throughout the day until it's time to amp it up. So, I mean, I'll be listening to some Adele, some R&B, some slow jams. And then, that's usually what I do.
Yeah, we would have Love on the Brain. Yeah. We would be pulling out to the facility windows down, blasting Love on the Brain.
my phone on the bus to Riley, and he's like, "Oh, he knows what time it is." He sees some of that stuff.
I wouldn't say any superstition for me, but obviously a routine and a process that I'd follow. So you kind of knew it like clockwork. Like, I show up, get changed into this, go straight to the strength coaches, do your activation, RPR, whatever, straight out to the field. So there's always a constant flow that I had, but I would say similar to these guys, pregame music, Luke Combs, Beautiful Crazy, something super mellow, super chill. Just get in the zone. You don't want to be too amped up before this game. Like,
can't peak too early.
If I'm bouncing off the walls and there's 3 minutes to play, you get out there and you're like exhausted from bouncing on the walls 3 minutes before playing. So the more calm I could get, the more peaceful I could feel before is like I could lock in and see what I needed to see.
You were a big visualization guy too, right? Mm-hmm. So something a little chill so you could kind of see what was happening.
Yeah, just literally close my eyes, listen to something chill, and like think about everything that I saw during practice and on film of this guy takes this step, this is what I'm doing, kind of see it through. So,
and we would all do a little bicep band workout for the ladies right before we run out on the field.
TV pump,
get the veins jumping. It was a little stronger. I needed all I could get. So I was out there.
Bust a couple. I would love catching passes too. I'd go in there and Keith Price. Shout out to Keith Price. We would go into our weight room and he would just give me touches, and Davis Cutter as well. We would just catch around, get as many touches and looks as we could before the game started.
Both those guys coaching now. I saw KP last week with the Bengals.
Yeah.
Down at BK practicing. He's doing an awesome job. And Davis obviously helping coach the tight ends at Texas.
Yep.
Huge win. So keep it going.
Absolutely.
What happened if you met Ashton Jenty one-on-one near the goal line?
You better cut.
I would go low. I would go as low as I could. And I'd hope that somebody else was behind me to help, because what I'd have
when he jumps, there's somebody help.
Right? Yeah. So as soon as that ball snapped, I got to take 5 steps before Ashton takes a couple and then still try to get him in a phone booth. So And then hope there's backup on the way too. That guy will make you miss. He'll run through you. He'll jump over you. That's a good challenge for sure.
What do you guys think of Marquez Cooper setting the best back
Who?
San Diego State.
Oh. Who? No, I'm so serious. San Diego State running back?
San Diego State back.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I love the fact that he's confident. That's something you need in this game and in this arena. You need to be confident in yourself and believe in yourself. So I'll never knock any athlete for feeling like they're the best in their position and believing in themselves with the utmost confidence that they can. But I mean,
no, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
there'll be a showdown for sure. I mean, every week you got to put it on film, right? Like Ashton will have to do it again this week, and you still got to show up and play. So, I mean, both of those guys, you hope they have a great season and have all the opportunities that they can postseason. Truthfully, like it's hard to do week in and week out. So anybody who does it well.
I'll say this: he was coached by one of the greatest, or is coached. My man Hags, Darian Hagan.
Oh yeah.
Heisman Trophy runner-up, Colorado, part of the Colorado staff. So Hags don't lack confidence, so I wouldn't expect this guy to.
Yeah.
That's it.
Favorite moment as a Bronco? I would have to say this most recent year winning the championship in UNLV. So a little context behind that. My sister actually was attending UNLV at the same time. So our whole family came out to Allegiant. Whole family was able to do a reunion, and it was super nice. Our family was obviously rooting for me, but she feels like she's the favorite and everything. It showed that day, but no, it was cool to see her and all her friends and out there. And like I said, our whole entire family was there, and I know she was happy on the inside too that we did win and I had a good game. So it was really nice. It was really good, and that had to be my best memory. Just seeing all our family together after the game, and it was a blessing. So,
no doubt. Question back to kind of the confidence, like Billy was saying, like DBs are the most borderline cocky players on the field. Whoa! But you have to be like Billy said, you got to be confident. And like every DB I've met, they're the best DB in the country. Mm-hmm. So as a DB, like what does that confidence mean? Like stepping on the field, because it's football. Like you get beat. Yeah. How does that confidence kind of keep you in the game and being able to continue to believe in yourself after a play that you get beat?
For sure. I mean, like defensive back, personal opinion, biased, hardest position in football because you're playing against the other team's best athlete backwards, right? And like you don't know what that guy's doing. You try your best to prepare for that, but at the same time, you're reacting to everything that he's doing. And so I think as much as you can take the doubt out from yourself in terms of your week of prep, then you can roll out there and at least be confident that, hey, even if I do get beat, I know why it was. You got to quickly course correct and be like, hey, my eyes weren't in the right place. My leverage wasn't good. And know after that play what you did, right or wrong, good or bad, and then be able to replicate the good stuff, bounce back from the bad stuff. And that's the confidence is in knowing that you're capable of correcting it. You're not gonna do anything you haven't done before when you're out there on the field. But if you've done it enough times to where you know what your capabilities are and you know how to correct it, that's where I think the confidence comes from as a DB. So that's what I'd say.
I agree.
15 years to the day for the Byron Hout.
To the day?
To the day. Revenge for Hout game.
Revenge, they already won. Hout won that game.
Yeah.
Shout out Hout. Guy, great Bronco. Coaching, doing a hell of a job up in Coeur d'Alene as a high school coach now.
Oh, yeah. He might have lost the battle, but he won the war for sure.
I don't even think he lost the battle. He didn't even he walked off.
He did. He ate that.
Whatever. And I would expect nobody was really excited. I mean, if they could relive that moment about that. But the Broncos would probably relive the end of the game.
Yeah, no
for
doubt.
Sure.
Imagine the NIL deals he would have had like after that. Like you could take that and brand it in so many ways.
Nobody looked more upset than Coach Pete, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Come on.
For me.
Yeah. Where can I get one?
You know where
too?
to find me. I got you after this. Coach Reed, I got you too.
Good question. Good.
Follow closely. You follow my Instagram page. It's at Kekaula K, or you can go to at 90 proof, and we'll be pushing it on there here very soon.
We'll be selling those maybe game day. We'll get them in the Broncos stores.
That's it.
Guaranteed score will go down by 10 strokes. Maybe
Easy.
I don't necessarily see that happening. TCU. We've been run a couple times, but I think this is going to be a game where special teams is going to have to dictate some field position, and you're looking more for a big play that doesn't screw you than one that comes out of nowhere. I know Oregon tried to fake punt last week. I'm sure the Broncos are preparing for all that stuff. And not to say they don't have something loaded up or whatever, but I don't necessarily see this as a fake punt or fake field goal type of game.
Brandon says, for all three of you guys, what coach was the most intense?
Yeah, this would be a good segue to a possible future guest. But I would say Coach Pitt for sure. When we were freshmen, he was our head strength coach. He's a legend here, and we would definitely have nightmares about him, especially before decks. But he was intense, and then the older you get, you realize he's kind of a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the funniest, nicest coaches ever. But as a freshman, it was like that weed out class, like where you all right, you just got to get through Pitt, and you'll be surviving. But he definitely put the challenge on us, and I think that's where the blue collar mentality came from. Like when you come in as a freshman, it's a culture shock having to go up against Coach Pitt on a daily basis. And once you overcome that, you're kind of blessed into the family. So no doubt.
Yeah, I'd agree with Pitt for sure for all of those reasons you just said. But Coach Marks too, in the locker room, like before the game, him walking around, getting people going. Yeah, all that, like that was intense, for those 2 minutes before kickoff.
Slapping chests.
He was in there getting you ready to go out there and run through somebody's face for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Winston Venable.
That's a good one too.
Coach Winston, he was super intense, and it was kind of my first taste of college football. I remember we were at Troy a couple years back, and I know you guys see videos of people with those smelling salts, like kind of like just stimulates the system and gets you going. So I look back and I thought my eyes were deceiving me because he had the bottle. He was like crushing it into his face and like sniffing it all by himself. And I'm like, okay, I need to stay away from him because I took a whiff of that and I was like, ooh, but I saw him like, yeah, he was like smacking people on the head. I ducked and I got up out the way. But Coach Winston, he was definitely intense.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No, we're all good.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Yeah. We're good. We're chilling.
We closed down the James on Tuesday night.
Yeah, totally.
Ray, would you have an intense coach from your perspective as coach?
I've seen every coach that I've ever coached with get intense at times. And I think probably I fell into that at times. But gosh, I mean, it'd be hard to top. Those guys would all be top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The guy that could get really intense was Coach Pete when he was the offense coordinator, and I'm sure when he was the head coach. But just a demand for excellence, and that was fun to be a part of that. But I think everybody, I think Hars had that. I know Coach Cutter has that. I think every coach has that when at some point it's like, we're not there and we should be.
Yeah.
So that's when it steps up. And I'm sure you could ask Bates and Pistone and Jake Knight, like I made us snapped on them a couple times. But yeah, I think that's part of coaching, but it's kind of figuring out when you're teaching, like you're always intense, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when you're teaching and when like the switch just flips and you lose it. And at that point, you got to really ask yourself, like, how effective are you being when you lose it? Intense, I'm sure all you guys can appreciate this. Intense isn't necessarily yelling and cussing and mother. I stopped myself. But it's not necessarily that. It's like, you better be on point. Like, you guys know, I think probably all the coaches you played for, there's really not anything more intense than like a Wednesday team meeting and you're the guy on the spot. Like, what's your assignment on this? I mean, that's intense, right? And you feel the pressure, and that's designed to make you feel the pressure so that when you're under the gun on game day, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, I had an answer to my teammates who expected me to know this.
Yeah.
And it's even more fun when it's the freshman that everybody knows has no chance. Yeah. So if that guy knew the answer, somebody fed it to him.
You're right. I got a Lee Marks story, by the way, real quick. I'm not on camera here, but that's fine. So 2014, Harsh came back, and Lee Marks was the, I think, assistant trainer, assistant strength coach?
Assistant strength coach.
All right. So I'm wearing a red polo on the sidelines, and they were doing this thing about Fresno and not supposed to wear red or whatever. And I mean, but, the media, like, Boise State doesn't write my paycheck. I can wear whatever color I want. So I'm standing on the sidelines, and Lee Marks walks over, never met the guy, didn't know who he was. He's like, "Hey, man, you're wearing red." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, we don't wear red around here. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "It's Fresno. We're trying to get, not wear red for Fresno. We don't wear red around here. So if you can just not wear a red polo, like, that'd be great." And I was like in shock, like, someone's really telling me what I can not wear to practice? Like, what? So I didn't say nothing. The next day, another guy's wearing red, and he walks over and says it to him again. I walk up to him. I said, "Hey, man," I was like, "You can't tell us what color shirt we can wear." He's like, he looks at me and goes, "Who are you?" I said, "Who are you?" I was like, "You can't tell me what color shirt to wear." And so we kind of stared at each other, and it didn't go great for a while. So like for the next 3 months, every time Lee Marks saw me, he just stared me down and he wouldn't say a word. We'd be in the lobby of the facility, and he would just stare me down and not say a word to me. So he gets right about the time he got the running backs coach. Me and my wife are in Babies R Us, and we see Lee Marks and his wife in Babies R Us. And we hashed it out over the diaper aisle, and now I would say Lee's like good friend. We're good. We hashed it out, and it was just kind of a misunderstanding, and it was all good. And Lee's a great dude, but there for 3 months, it was like the most awkward thing ever. But I haven't worn red back to practice since. So
I actually saw that take place with a guy at practice last week. Showed up wearing red. Dale was the one policing it. And Dale.
Dale.
Don't do that. And
it's a real thing.
Yeah,
Pitt used to make us do push-ups if we were wearing red. I think I threw away every red shirt.
Josh
I was
Booker
never
Brown
going to wear it
again.
Josh Booker Brown refused.
Yeah. I went to a all red high school in red and white.
Me
so I
too.
come in wearing my, red stuff from high school. It's like, "Coach, this is my high school program. It's game day. It's Friday. They're playing, a big game back home." He's like, "I don't care. Like, we don't wear red." It's like, got it. Freshman, wore red twice, and after that, it never again.
Yeah, I got one last good question. They said, give one piece of advice for the boys for this upcoming game. And if we were speaking to the team in front of the boys, what would we tell them? Start it off, baby.
Okay. I would say that do everything throughout the week to where you have the utmost confidence. The thing I'd say to the team when I was playing was no fear, no hesitation, and all that means is you're so prepared and you're so confident that when you step out onto the field, you don't have any fear and any hesitation in what you're doing because you've done everything from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so walking into this game, you've played football so many times before. You know exactly what you're doing. You've prepared all week for it. Trust in your capabilities to roll out there and have no fear, no hesitation, and know that you've done all the things that you needed to do to get yourself ready for this moment. Then just cut it loose and have fun. Don't hesitate at all.
Yeah, that's great. You guys hearing that from college just gave me chills because he did used to bring us up, and before games, he would fire me up. And like I said, that no fear, no hesitation will just let you know, trust your instincts. Go out there, don't fear anybody. Know that we put in the work. We face guys like each other all week in practice, all camp, all year. just go cut it loose. What I would tell the boys is just, I mean, and it's something we kind of lived by the last year, is eliminate the externals. And I mean, like, don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about the stadium. Don't worry about what you're hearing, social media, anything leading up prior. Forget all of that. Just understand we're going to play between the lines. Look to your brother to your left, brother to your right, trust in your coaches, and just go out there and cut it loose. Like, eliminate everything else. Don't worry about it. Do your best every play. Do your job. And at the end of the day, the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I would say just live in the moment, but don't let the moment get too big. Like, this is obviously a big game in a big stadium. And it's always, the quote is like, big time players make big time plays in big time games. But that doesn't mean playing outside of who you are as a player. It's like Kala said, you've done all the work throughout the week. And now it's just playing your game and doing your role, your 1/11th, and those big plays are going to come. So just trust that and then live in the moment. Because like, I have flashbacks to the big games we played at Washington and just being out there and like taking 30 seconds just to take it all in and be like, this is what we dreamed of when we were little kids. Yeah. And so take it in, but then just go out and, like you said, no fear, no hesitation, and just play the game you know how to play, and everything else is going to take care of itself.
Yeah. You guys have heard me say it, so I guess for everybody else, but trust your preparation, trust the process, trust your teammates, do your job. And then if you got that controlled, like, shit, cut it loose, have some fun, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no doubt.
go do your thing. And like, don't make it more complicated than that. And you know, I think the Broncos are probably at that point, and I think it's gonna be fun, and I'm excited to see it. So
yeah. I agree. We got one final question,
and then I got one thing I gotta say when he's done.
From Nathaniel again.
What's up?
Hey, good to see you. Yeah, so the reputation for Oregon fans is that they can be pretty raucous. Question I have is, what at a road game was some of the worst things you may have heard from an opposing fan base?
I don't think we can necessarily repeat all that.
Yeah.
No rules on YouTube.
Yeah, when we played UCF and we went down there at the bounce house, that was probably, I'd say Fresno's probably the worst in my opinion. But when we played at the bounce house, it was insane. Like, my family was telling me stories like where my dad and uncle and like my 6th grade little cousin were walking past the student section and they were just attacking him. And I can't say what they said to him. But
Fresno's always good for that.
Yeah. And I was like, they have no shame. They went for it. But like, those fan bases are the most fun to play against, because you really feel like, oh, this is college football. Like, we're having fun. But that was a crazy moment. I couldn't really believe it when I heard it, but it was pretty sweet.
We had this was my freshman year. We played at Washington State, and we went out there for like our very first warm-ups, right? Not even in full pads. It's like your very first time out there. I don't know how many minutes or hours this says before the game, but it's a long time before kickoff when you're out there doing this warm-up. And there was already a line of students in the end zone, in their like almost blacked out drunk. Like, and I'm like, we got a lot of time before kickoff comes around. Like,
slow down.
They're not making it. They're not making it. They're not making it. But one of the girls is just like falling over the side of the railing, and her trash talk was, she was yelling at certain guys like, you don't even have a butt on you. Like, you don't have a butt. And everybody's like, what kind of trash talk is this? Like, this is wild. And somebody turns around and goes there, you don't even have a butt. And they're running off of the field. And she was one of those like, yeah, she's not making it to kickoff, no doubt. But the most random, like, oddball way to talk trash. And it's like, yeah, good luck getting to game time.
Yeah, I'd have to say this is a sleeper, but Utah State, they get rowdy, and I've heard some things I've never heard. Like, it's really rare that I hear something I'm like, okay, I heard that before. I heard that one. They were saying things to me and like to our teammates that I never heard, and I was like, you know what? I'd laugh because some of the things were good. So shout out to them, because they were saying something. Sometimes it's like you try to ignore them and just not worry about them, but they'll get you every once in a while. And then Utah State, they got me a couple times. I was like, had to put my head down or hide behind a towel. Like, damn,
they were getting on cold.
Yeah.
I think my Fresno story was last year when we played there, and my shoulder kept coming in and out of place, and so I was in the tent, and my shoulder's out, and like they're putting it back in, and our tent is up against the wall where the fans are because we're pretty close to them, and they zip up the tent. And you're supposed to have some privacy. And some dude unzips the tent and leans over the rail, puts his head in, and just started cussing me out, calling me a bitch. And I was like, I can't believe that just happened. It was insane.
I feel like Fresno always had like at least 2 or 3 fights in the crowd, like every game between their own fans. It like wasn't even Fresno versus Boise fighting. It was like their own fans just scrapping each other like for no reason.
Getting after it. Fresno, so we beat him in the game in 01 or whatever, and it's mayhem walking off the field because it went right down to the last snap and all that stuff. And I'm walking up the field with a couple players and coaches. This guy like jumps the rope and he's like right in front of me. He's like, "You guys are dog meat." I'm like, "We just won." Right. That's like, but I appreciate your effort.
Right.
Hey, you guys probably haven't ever even played there, but La Tech and Rice, like the Rice guys, they went to school on your bio, and they were just the whole game, like on everything in your bio.
They did their research.
I appreciate the research.
Yeah, that's the separation.
Yeah.
Preparation.
Right. Separation and the preparation.
I kind of respect it.
Yeah, they just yell at you and stuff.
But they do throw stuff at you. I remember they were throwing
Definitely.
stuff.
I think they're like the
Throw
infamous,
some
like,
beers.
beer. Yeah, they're like beer will get thrown on your arena.
Thank God we flew there.
Hey, as we do wind this up, and you guys are probably not even aware of this, but we're talking about Coach Pitt, and tough week for Coach Pitt. He lost his father on Saturday last week, and just wanted to let him know how much of an impact he makes on everybody's life, and how much of an impact his dad, great Bronco fan, was here for everybody, and just wanted everybody to be aware of that and support him and his family as they go through this. So
no doubt, we love you, Pitt. You're watching.
Respect, lots of respect, and love.
Type of guy that's kind of like a dad to all of us too out there. So
we all spend more time with Pitt than we do even with the coaches, while they're out on the road. So you've impacted all of us, and you still continue to this day, and here for you. So
final thoughts or score predictions for Saturday?
Cool. Big dub for the Broncos. I know it's gonna be a good game and a dogfight, but I think we're gonna come out on top, and it's
the wrong crew if you're looking for anybody to say something different.
Right. I mean, what I can say is, like, after now being an alumni, I totally feel why people go so hard for their alma maters and the schools that they graduated for. Because it's like, I'm rooting for Boise every week, every game. I don't care if the coaches are suiting up and playing. I'm rooting for the coaching staff. So, I get it now. I'm watching the TV. I'm glued. People are talking. I'm like, shut up. Like, leave me alone. Like, so Broncos till the day I die. I love it. Let's go.
No doubt. But awesome, boys. Well, we appreciate you. Special guest, Kekaula, and then Bill coming out. But as always, guys, tune in next week, and hopefully we have another Victory Tuesday to come celebrate.
Absolutely.
We'll see a bunch of you guys out in Oregon partying.
Yep.
Thanks to Western Collective,
yes,
the James and Jacksons for sponsoring the show.
Oh, yes.
Kala, we got a zero blitz on here. Let's hope we see some of that, huh?
We'll be at the game. If you see us, say what's up.
Yes, sir. No doubt.
For anybody want to know, I think everybody here is going to the game.
We'll be there
Friday, so hit us up. We'll see you. Go Broncos. Yeah, absolutely. I fully expect that. Expect Breezy to be back in action, so maybe we can get a double up Monday and Tuesday.
No doubt. Well, go Broncos. Appreciate you guys.
Go Broncos.